Good afternoon, everybody. This is Gregory Mascaro, Mascaro Financial Media. Today is Saturday, April 8th. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. This is going to be my first political post. I do a Monday through Friday financial conversation, insurance, investment structuring, things to be aware of to put tools at your advantage. My political posts may or may not be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, but today is the first one. My political posts are titled "The Ramblings of a Confused Mind." The reason why I'm doing this is to help people understand what they're going to be challenged with, what we're going to be faced with over the next decades, all right? Not just the next few years, the next 30, 40, or 50 years. Everyone seems to have a concern about whether or not we're being nice, whether or not our government is being compassionate. We have conversations regarding immigration, illegal immigrants, legal immigrants, border control, border safety, personal safety, safety when we fly and travel. There's much to discuss. Just the other day, Syria did another chemical attack on its own population using, they believe, sarin gas, which is a weapon of mass destruction. They've used chlorine gas before, which is also a WMD. These are things that President George Bush said they had when we went after Saddam Hussein and got him out of power, and they said none were found. And the funny part is Syria said recently with the US, the UN, and Russia that they've gotten rid of all of their chemical warfare and capabilities, which the other night just proves that that's not true. So we did a retaliatory strike, good, bad, or indifferent. How's that viewed upon? I think it's a smart thing. It's letting the world know the sheriff is back in town. We have 8 years of no sheriff, 8 years of lawless behavior, encouraging despots and tyrants to behave in manners. Of course, they were going unchecked. That's also part of the reason that the last administration for the 8 years was trying to stop your rights to self-protect with the Second Amendment. There's people that need to be brought to task with the law regarding their violation of their sworn oath to defend the Constitution and to fulfill their duties. The list is long. There's also concerns with our fiscal behavior. The last administration printed somewhere between 12 and 18 trillion dollars between how much was given here and how much was given overseas. They didn't even print it up. They just entered into the Federal Reserve banking system these numbers. To give you an idea on $1 trillion, there's about 343, 345 million Americans. That's about $3,300, give or take, to each living and breathing American, both being born and one step in the grave, 1 foot in the grave. It's an obscene number. Even with this administration, as much as I like feeling that there's a new sheriff in town and they're going to start putting people to task, when I hear them say, oh, we want $1 trillion for our own infrastructure, that's a big number. It's an obscene number. It shouldn't be done like that. All governments, whether they're our governments, our state governments, or foreign governments, have to do things on what they call a sustainability level. And you just can't overly tax everybody because then they'll just leave. We have 17 states that are looking to file bankruptcy. That means people who are on pensions, they're going to have a haircut. It means they're going to get a reduction in their pension. People who are on jobs are going to get reduction downsides. This is all powerful stuff that makes our future, our tomorrow, our retirement uncertain. This is part of what my financial conversations talks about with trying to help you create your own independent situation. It doesn't take a lot, but it takes knowledge. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is the Constitution. Knowledge is the Declaration of Independence. These books are for free. You could get them from the Heritage site. Online, there's a lot of sites. I think even the NRA is giving out free little pocket books of the Constitution. There's a good article to read on the net. Give yourself a favor. Google. Many don't know this, but Davy Crockett was a congressman. Now, he has an article that he wrote called Yours Not to Give. It's about a conversation he had with a farmer back when he was running for re-election. And it talks about the obligations and the responsibilities of the federal government. The federal government has no business being in anything other than providing us a strong military, keeping our safe, keeping our land and our persons safe, providing us an infrastructure for energy and food that's safe, and protecting our borders. All other type of beneficial social programs should be handled on a state level. Now, the reason why it's done on the federal level is because our capitalistic free enterprise system works so well, it has a huge abundance of tax revenue. So excess taxes, excess revenue, let's put it to work and do nice things. Not constitutionally approved, but we could elect to do these things on a state level. The federal government and the SEC have tools that can control how public corporations set up and compensate their employees, because it's now working with the public at large. Therefore, they can dictate control. On a private level, it's that own person who created the company. That's their wealth. It's whatever they want to do with it. Same thing with the arguments that you see people saying about bathroom issues. Federal government has no business in that. State level, But here we are. Now it's divisive behavior. Well, here's something we're all going to share in common. The Center for American Islamic Relations, CARE, says out of their 1-point-something billion people, they think 10% are extremist or lone wolf extremist Islamic terroristic behavior, right? And that 10% number is 140 million. Even if it was 1%, that's 1.4 million lone wolves around the world. 10% of that 10% is 14 million. There's something like 12 to 16 Islamic military training camps under the guise of retreats, religious retreats throughout the country. You can see this on any Google search. So picture a lone wolf attack middle of the night. It doesn't have to be against the people. When we captured and killed Osama bin Laden, our government gained a treasure trove of intel on what they were teaching their followers to do that is very low tech. Take a car, take a knife, take a truck, create homemade bombs, blow up a communication center, blow up a water filtration center, blow up a power substation, create forest fires, do all of this stuff that creates strain on our infrastructure, strain on our resources. Some of our substation equipment for power grid is one of. There's no second piece of equipment backing it up on the shelf, and those pieces can take months, if not years, to replace. So imagine having an area of the country or an area of your town going dark. You're not going to have electric for a long time. Then what do you do at night when you have the group of these lone wolves come through the neighborhood? This is what's going on in Europe. What we could see going on in Europe is what's going to come here. We're not going to have this go away overnight. This is now what we're going to be confronted with for decades going forward. This is why I like the idea of the Boy Scout motto. Always be prepared. And this is what I try to do now with my financial work with the clients I represent. And that's helping them become self-sufficient. We have our own electric. We have our own water supply. It's not being a doom and gloom prepper. It's being prepared for disruption. What if something went wrong? What if something's not there? Look at Flint, Michigan. Look at New Jersey. The townships were giving the people in the community bad water. Well, I have my own, not in the house I'm in now, but the prior house I was in, had my own water supply, had my own filtration system. Didn't have to worry about that. These are ideals that I think everybody should embrace. The same thing with the Second Amendment. The last administration for 8 years is trying to take away your right to own a weapon, protect yourself. Something goes wrong in my neighborhood or my community. It comes to my neighborhood, my house, my door. I dial 911. By the time they get there, my family's dead. That's all you got to say. By the time they get there, it's too late. And what some of the intel was telling our government officials were, create a situation, have first responders come, and then have a second situation attacking those first responders. How often do you think someone is going to want to come out if they're fearing that they might get attacked as well? This is a long-term plan and design. This is not an overnight plan and design. This is something they want to do perpetually. for decades. So there's a lot that you need to be aware of. There's much that you should be able to do for yourself. This was my first post. I might do it bi-weekly. I haven't decided yet. Until we chat again, be well, stay safe, be alert. All the best to you. It's Gregory Mascaro saying have a nice day and enjoy your weekend.